Consumer prices rising 2.3% in October from last year. That's up from 2.1% in September. Let's bring in Doug Flynn from Flynn Zito Capital Management. Always great to see you, Doug. Welcome.
Happy Thanksgiving, Hannah. How are you?
Happy Thanksgiving. I am great. Better now. Let's talk inflation. Ticked back up just a bit last month. Should we be worried? Why do you think this is?
Yeah, it's sticky. I think the costs have not come down any further from that high that we saw it drop from. It's sort of settling in here, and they can't really make any more progress. And it's really, the way you keep inflation down is to keep the interest rates higher. So the Fed is sort of at an impasse here. Should they cut, which you typically don't do until it's right where you want it to be. So they're conflicted. You have some very flat and expected numbers here with inflation. They haven't quite gotten it all the way to the 2% number they want. And then there's some other issues on the other side where, like, if you look at the unemployment numbers, once you're unemployed, people are finding it a harder and a longer time to find a replacement job. So those are the conflicting things they're dealing with.
Yeah, I see that every day. So looking at the minutes from the last Fed meeting, officials say they're in favor of moving, quote, gradually to lower interest rates that you just mentioned. What are you expecting there?
Well, I think you do the quarter point that everyone expecting in the market's expecting about 2/3 probability that you are going to get 1/4 of a point in the December meeting, and I think that is going to be the case. That's where we sit right now with that. Now, what happens after that? You might get 1 or 2. Of course, everything is data dependent once you get into the new year. But beyond that, really, there's a lot out there that we don't know. You really don't know exactly how the Trump tariff situation is going to play out. That could drive up inflation. So I think after this one, we're really going to take a wait and see to see what happens with Trump coming in before the January meeting.
I'm so glad you mentioned tariffs, because that's what we're talking about. He just tapped Jamieson Greer to be the U.S. Trade Representative. He's a big advocate for decoupling our economy from China. Could tariffs help make that happen, Doug, moving forward come January?
Tariffs are a key way that you actually do make that happen. And really what that means is, if you look at it, you're really prioritizing the common good of the workers here in the U.S. in an attempt to get fairness. And so what they are against are very large trade imbalances, which we have with China. And so what they want to do is they want to get it more on a level playing field. And if that's their goal, tariffs are a way to do that. So what that could mean is a little bit of short-term pain there with certain industries and areas that are going to be affected, with the goal ultimately of getting things more in line from both a national security situation and also from a U.S. worker situation. That's what this is.
What about us, the consumer? The CEO of Best Buy says they'll have to raise prices if Trump goes through with these tariffs. So that means electronics, just to mention one thing. It means food. It means gas. So we just had a conversation about that. What else could get more expensive, Doug?
Quite a lot, actually. But, electronics are a key thing. We don't make hardly any electronics here in the United States anymore. And so, and then on the flip side, though, you have a company like Steve Madden, the shoe company, who said that their goal is to get less than, about 50% of their production from China to other areas. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to take a little bit of time to move that. And when it comes to electronics, we may never be able to get that here. But there is a play for both the AI and the robotics that could really ramp up. And so the interesting thing to me is that if we start onshoring and a lot of these companies start bringing things back to the U.S., does some of it not even go to U.S. workers? Does it go to robots and the like to really get those costs down, because they have to invest in those plants here versus overseas? So you could have a little bit of short-term consumer pain. I think the companies will eat a little bit of it, but we're probably all going to have to eat a little bit of it. But if the economy grows overall and people are overall in a better situation, that's, I think, what Trump is banking on.
This is a complicated topic to explain, and you did it really well. Thank you for simplifying it for us, Doug Flynn, and happy Thanksgiving.
You too.